Authenticity isn't just a solo project. It involves taking risks with other people if you want to get a boost in your mental health and becoming more authentically yourself. Today, in the second part of this 3-episode series on authenticity, we'll get into group authenticity, or sharing your life and story with other people. The first episode was really about solo authenticity and how you can do that through journaling and self-reflection. This episode is about taking some small steps and risking your authenticity with other people and sharing yourself more vulnerably with people that you trust, hopefully, first, before you get into anything, deeper with other people. So the second door of authenticity is about practicing honesty with other people. So welcome back. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Dave, and this is the Good Life Lab with Dr. Dave, where we experiment and explore tools, tips, and techniques for just boosting our mental health. And my focus is really around helping queer men, whether you're bi, gay, or straight, and just curious about things. I want to serve you and help you just boost your mental health a little bit and also find greater direction, meaning, and purpose in life. So welcome back. I'm going to share a bit about my story and my journey with groups and how they've helped me become more authentically myself. There have been times in my journey in graduate school specifically where I was actually in, I think, like 3 groups at once. So I was in seminary, so it was had a religious, faith-oriented groups at the time. But one was really, it had nothing to do with necessarily faith, but just being more vulnerable about ourselves. And I think it even got into, at the time, our orientations and what we were kind of wrestling with within the Christian, a Christian context. There was another one that was just a Bible study, and then there was a men's group, a support group, where we just talked about whatever came up and had fun together and kind of lived our lives together, as well as had this support group. So those were the 3 groups, all men at the time, and have met different kind of needs I had. So think about that for yourself and what you feel like you're needing. There can be different types of groups for different things, different issues. More recently, my groups have involved, and I've initiated most of them, but one of them was a queer men's therapy group that I was just a participant in. I wasn't the one leading it. I also led my own group in my therapy practice with men that were in different places with their own sexuality. So that was the focus as well. And then I've invited men to my house to just share their journeys. And once a month for over the winter months, I've done this before. And so I still have this ongoing desire, need to be in consistent contact with people and to be able to share on a deeper level. Sometimes I find with my friends that in my family, it's very casual and friendly and fun, but we don't get to some of the deeper issues that we might be struggling with, and sometimes it's not appropriate with friends and family. So I find that being intentional about developing support groups where you can be very forthright and very authentic and honest with people about what you're dealing with can be a great source of support, and also challenge you to be more honest with yourself and with what's going on, and also give you great perspective on things to share. If you're thinking about something, you're overreacting to something, or if your feelings are just maybe a little out of alignment or control or whatever you want. So just give you some great feedback if you can share that with some trusted, close to others in this next kind of level of authenticity. And I found a great benefit of these men's groups and just support groups have really boosted my mental health. I just feel more grounded. I feel more connected to them. I feel lighter in many ways once I'm able to kind of share myself and get some positive feedback. So I really believe in the power of support groups and men's groups and therapy groups, whatever you can find in your area. I try that. And some just practical ways. When I'm looking for a group, I'll just first Google. There's some great meetup groups you can find. Just Google queer men's groups in the area and see what comes up for you. Psychology Today is also a great resource for therapy groups in your area. So you can try to look for, there's filters on that platform, psychologytoday.com, that allow you to search for groups. And so another great resource for you as well. And think about starting your own group. reach out to a few men that you think might be open to it, that you feel comfortable with, and see if they want to participate. I find that most men are kind of in waiting, or waiting for somebody to reach out to them and invite them in. And so if you can take that risk for yourself, but with also for this, to connect with others, I think you'll find some willing people to join with you. A few evidence-based reasons for this. I've mentioned this before, but there's this great standing study, longest of its kind, a Harvard research study on happiness and well-being, and they found kind of their main conclusion is that relationships are key to mental health. More than anything else, it seems to come down to relationships and what contributes to a long, meaningful life. It's really critical that you find ways to connect with other people in meaningful ways, because it contributes to your own mental health, but also a long and happy life. And I mentioned this too, another benefit that groups provide is they just provide a source of support, a place to just find greater connection. But they also can be a place of mirroring, like I mentioned, of mirroring some of your thoughts and feelings, and you can kind of check in to see if these are helping you in any way or destructive, or you need to make some corrections. And groups can be a great source of giving you feedback, again, of mirroring those things in your life. And bottom line, groups can help us feel less alone, less isolated, and just connected with other people and connected with ourselves as we share ourselves more authentically. So some practical tools about how you can get started in group authenticity. I've mentioned some of this before, but start small. Start with a couple friends you just reach out to and ask if they'd be willing to join with you and I'd recommend doing it for a period of time so they don't feel like it's an obligation for indefinitely. So something that's worked for me is doing it monthly over the winter months, even starting in October and going through May, so people feel like they can take the summers off and come back to it if you want. That's one way to kind of start small and invite a couple friends to join you on a monthly basis. It could be weekly, it could be bi-weekly, but monthly can be a good way to get into it. And I mentioned this before, another practical way to go about this is to look for existing men's groups. It could be in a local church, a gay-friendly church, it could be a meetup group, it could be a Psychology Today group. It could also be, I play pickleball, maybe a pickleball group of guys that you join or you start yourself, or it could be just around your hobbies. So think about how you might be able to begin to start something for yourself. And also there's lots of resources out there online to help you set ground rules, which is really important, especially if it's a support group or a share group. You want to have some guidelines around confidentiality, around being able to facilitate if somebody's talking too much, and you want to encourage other people to talk some. So you have some guidelines around how to conduct a group. That can be really helpful. So you might do a quick search for yourself on that. What are some good guidelines for that? So as I close, the second door of authenticity is around groups and sharing with others. And as I didn't mention this, but one other way to get that started is through therapy. I'm in therapy still as a therapist. I'm still in therapy for myself, and I find that it's a small group of 2 people. It could be a safe way of taking another step towards authenticity and sharing with somebody else is through a coaching or counseling dynamic or situation with somebody. And groups have been one of my biggest sources of growth and encouragement over the years. I'm finding it a place where I want to get back into that. So I'm actually in another search for my own group. So I'll be doing that here soon over the winter months. And because I think it's so powerful to be able to share yourself in a trusted environment. So again, I encourage you to do the same and just try to start small and see what happens. Just as authenticity can grow in journaling and reflecting kind of with ourselves, it can also be a great source of growth if we begin to share that with other people, share our lives, our stories, and our authentic self with other people, to get outside of our own thoughts and reflection. So take this next step of risk and sharing yourself and your story with other people. It can be a great way of boosting your mental health and well-being over the winter months especially. And I've mentioned this before, but I want to start a community for queer men to talk about some of these issues and be encouraged and be challenged. So I'm developing a waitlist. Please check that out in the description below. It'll take you to a landing page and fill that out. And once we have kind of a critical mass, I'm trying to get maybe 12 people. I will share more information about how we're going to go about this community and group coaching around mental health for queer men. Please check that out and some additional resources in the description below. And I will see you next time, where we will talk about live stage authenticity, kind of sharing your story on a bigger stage. Something I did recently. I'll share with you my process of developing a story and then practicing it with myself and then pitching it at a pitch night and then being coached and then sharing it live on stage. So you see that whole process unfold in this next video around the kind of the third door of authenticity, which is sharing your story live on stage. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your week.